special third mic, Judith Wood. It's a career of carnival of fun. So excited to have you here. But look at that intro. Here they are. It's That Career Show. Ah, yes. Here we are. I think I can only hear me. Unmute that group, boy. Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello,
be able to hear us
hello.
now.
Well, look, we're a little late. We're a little late, folks.
But we got here. That's
we
all
got
that matters.
there.
We did it.
You know, it turns out when you're doing a Facebook live stream, actually knowing how to start a live stream, very
It's a
critical.
good start. It's probably something that should have been at the top of our list
Yeah,
for today.
look, but to be fair, the list was pretty big.
It was. It was.
Yeah, so for all of those watching, thank you. We love you and we appreciate you for checking out our show, That Career Show. I mean, if you couldn't tell from the 400 logos and the 1 minute long intro and all the hoopla, the extravaganza.
No.
So my name's Daniel Santo.
And my name is Raquel Martins, and we have our special guest host with us today.
Judith Wood. Judith Wood is a, multi-talented force here at Australian Centre for
She
Career
is.
Education. And look, you know, very qualified.
We're very,
Overqualified.
we're very excited to have Judith on
Career
the
genius.
Oh, no.
So just to explain a little bit about what this show is. So we're going to be talking about careers. We're going to have some bits and guests and fun things.
show. Hopefully get you excited about your career and your career journey and what's ahead for you in the big wide world of careers. So I'd love to just start off by saying get in touch with us, comment on the stream. You can also jump on our website, ceav.vic.edu.au/TCS. And drop us some questions for our career experts, suggest a guest, or leave us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so I mean, if we just want to have a look around the studio, so quite a bit of work's gone into sort of transforming the studio. We're in the Daniel Tech School, as alluded to in the introduction.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been really fun setting up the lights and getting a bit of a vibe in here.
Might have to put some before and after shots of the studio
just thinking
up on
that.
our website
Absolutely.
so you can all have a look at what it looked like before we came in.
Yeah, and this is an opportune time to thank my cousin Robert Puglisi for creating the beautiful logo that you see.
Amazing.
Yeah, if you want to jump on his socials, it's Hopped Up Art. So if you look on Instagram or Facebook, Hopped Up Art, he can sort out some logos for you.
Also, a big shout out to Jacques Adamidis and Costa Diamantopoulos. I hope I said that right. They did they've done some photography and videography for us. So we are very grateful to them for coming out to shoot some stuff with us last week.
Yep, and just one other thing. So, J-Dog, if you just want to switch to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Certainly.
So we can just take a look.
Hello.
So when we had a little rehearsal show, and I liked the way I did it then, so I'm going to do the same thing. So starting from the left-hand side, we've got a Moog synthesizer, and then smack bang in the middle, we have J-Dog Jaden.
Hi, everyone.
Now, look, his regular working name is Jaden, but when we're in the world of careers in this room, I don't know, the lights, something happens in here, and he becomes J-Dog.
J-Dog.
Definitely.
J-Dog.
Yeah.
J-Dog.
You're definitely looking less pink than the rehearsal show.
Yeah, which
you
is
were
good.
You were bathed in pink last time.
Saturated.
We've also got our lovely assistant producer just behind Jaden, Sabrina. Hello. And our other assistant
tiny.
producer who you can't see, she's sitting outside the studio welcoming our interview guests in. So thank you guys for coming on board and helping us out with the show. We couldn't do it without you all.
Not a problem.
Great to have you all here. And did you want to do a shout out to the people that did the filming and the...
Already did.
You already
Daniel.
did it? Wow. Well, you
Pay
know,
attention,
look,
Daniel.
Wake up,
there's
Daniel.
quite a few things going on at the
Jeez.
same time here. It's all a process, a learning process.
So I guess it's probably important to point out that this week we have launched our show during National Careers Week. And National Careers Week is an initiative of the Career Industry Council of Australia, or CICA, and it aims to celebrate careers, career development services, and career development practitioners. So we're very excited to have David Carney, now let me get his position right, the Executive Director for CICA, on the line to do a bit of a Zoom interview with us this afternoon as our first guest.
Okay.
So we'll pop him
Well,
up.
I'm
Let's
just gonna
see.
cut to
Let's
this
see
one
how we
and
go
just-
with
Yeah.
this.
God,
Look,
technology.
we have been having quite a few issues with Zoom and getting it to work.
David,
David,
can you
Hold on.
hear us and
One
see
sec,
us?
One sec.
I can see you
Uh,
and hear you guys.
beautiful.
Perfect.
Yay.
Yeah,
We're
we
so
need a
happy.
pause button. Yay!
Can you hear that? That's our fan base. They're loving it.
They're all very
Trying-
excited to meet you.
Trying to get him on here. Hold on. Give me a sec. I've got to.
So is he coming through the stream?
Yeah, but I have to put his video up. It's
Sure.
a
Okay.
little bit. He's going to be popped in the corner here.
All
I'll
right.
make it a
There
little
we
bit
go.
smaller. There we go.
This is what happens on a live
Yeah, make it
show.
Live
smaller.
show.
Definitely
the
make
very,
it smaller.
The very first.
First live show.
Yeah.
You don't want to be full screen, David?
Definitely not full screen, no.
We'll keep you caught up.
David, could you start off by telling us a little bit about CICA and what they do?
Sure. Before I kick into that, I really just love the intro, love the whole thing about the career show. So hats off to you guys and
Thank you.
and
Thank
the
you.
Australian Centre for Career Education for an initiative. I think that to lead into your question, so CICA is the Career Industry Council of Australia. We're the national peak body for the career industry. So, I think we're responsible for advocating about, the value of career development and through all ages and all stages. So obviously a key element of that is the work that goes on with our young people, but we also understand that a person's career journey out of school is just the first step, and there's multiple sort of steps along the way. And so what role does sort of career development and being able to access a career practitioner or career advisor, how can that help Australians?
Right. Yeah, and so when we were putting this show together, it was one interesting thing to work out, well, what angle do we want to take here? So, we kind of wanted to be entertaining, but, just maybe bring awareness to careers in general. And it might be people's very first introduction to thinking about careers in an active way, as opposed to sort of passive way where, people, they might apply for a few jobs and they get one and they, they don't put a lot of, they're not active in their own career management. They probably wouldn't have considered a career counsellor. So I think this show is probably going to be about just a bit of career awareness. It's exciting to be working with you guys for National Careers Week.
Definitely. Speaking of National Careers Week, David, there's some other exciting events happening this week. Could you maybe speak to some of the other stuff that's going on and what National Careers Week is all about?
Yeah, sure. So there's a lot happening. And I think, National Careers Week very much is just about a showcase of all things careers for a week, so it just gives anyone an opportunity. It's very much driven at grassroots level. So it's not a case of sort of CICA and National Careers Week running sort of events. We very much encourage organisations and schools and businesses and whatever just to get involved and to run something which is unique or targeted to their own community. But it's also about highlighting, I think, those key points that you just spoke about earlier about it's really about getting people to start thinking about managing their own career and being active in that role rather than passive. I think, that's a big thing. We know the world of work is changing. We know we've just come out of a pandemic. We know that, some people have lost jobs through no fault of their own, but, where does career development and access to a career counsellor, where can it assist people? And I think, National Careers Week also not only is about that, but it's also about showcasing, high quality career information, because we need to access information to be able to make well-informed decisions. And so, that's a key element of it as well.
What do you think the biggest change in, say, the last 20 years has been in the career space?
Well, some would say not much, and some would say a lot. I think it's an interesting question to ask, because I think careers have definitely changed, jobs have changed, the labour market has changed. We've moved from, probably in the last decade anyway to, some very traditional based careers into sort of new and emerging type careers. And,
Right.
we've also moved into more of a global economy. And so, we've definitely seen the opportunity for Australians to be able to participate in that global economy. And so that can mean that you can be, living and working in Melbourne, but also undertaking work, across the world. And so there's those abilities. So I think the change is exciting. It doesn't need to be seen as daunting, but I think that ability to learn those skills to be able to manage your career journey is really, really important.
Mm.
And so a lot of that would be about, learning transferable skills and soft skills. I feel like, it's just a feeling, not quantified, but I just feel like soft skills are becoming more and more important so that, you hear the thing all the time about people having multiple jobs or multiple careers in their lifetime. And I guess having a common thread that goes throughout those careers as they move through their life, and they're bringing some of their experience from their previous role into a new one, even if it's not in the same industry. Something that probably wasn't happening 30, 40 years ago, where people had their one job they had for their entire life. And
We've got lots now.
the variety and the I guess it's a lot more
Well,
dynamic.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, if you talk to young people today, young people don't want to be in same job for 30 years, so their parents might have been quite happy doing that. But young people today, they want variety. They want to be able to move into a job and work in it for, 3 to 5 years and then move on. And so it's how do you collect those skills, as you start to move through your career? So, one career, multiple journeys, different roads, to sort of think of it in a visual way is that, there's no right or wrong. And I think through the course of your career, some of us are lucky that, everything that we plan out happens. But for most of us, we take a wrong turn or we go down the wrong road, and, we either might undertake some training that didn't sort of, wasn't quite what we thought it might be, or we might move into a job where we sort of think, this is okay for a short period of time, but I don't see myself staying here for a long time. And I think that, that's part of the excitement, I think, of future careers. And definitely for the younger generation, they're not fazed by movement, so they're quite excited by the fact that, I don't need to be tied into something for 30 years.
Yeah.
But I think those skills are important. It's how do you build your kit bag of skills to make sure that you are collecting them and carrying them and transferring them from the different roles, and then learning new skills and picking up new skills and so forth. So that whole notion of ongoing learning or upskilling and reskilling throughout our life is really, really important. So if you were to talk about, where you said, what are the changes have been in the last 20 years? I think, that whole notion of ongoing learning was something probably 20 years ago, which, probably wasn't as at the forefront as what it is today.
Yeah.
Right.
David, can you tell us a little bit about your career journey and how you got to being the executive director of Seeker?
Yeah, so I started my journey out when I left school. I actually did left school in the late 80s, and I suppose it was a bit of a passive career planner as well. All my mates were leaving school and going to do commerce at university, and I thought, oh well, if that's where everyone's going, that's where I'll go. And I think probably 2 years in, decided this really wasn't for me at all, and sort of thought, I'm just going to drop out. But my parents went, no, you're definitely not dropping out. You need to finish that degree, and then you can, if you want to go and do something else after that, you can do it.
Was it a gradual awareness over time that this wasn't for you, or was it like the first second you were in there, you were like, this is not quite right?
I think there were some elements of my degree program which I really enjoyed, which I think if I reflect on it now, the elements that I enjoy about the work that I do now. So I really love the marketing and management aspects of a commerce degree, but I hated the accounting and finance and economics. It was just like so boring. And I think, where I probably ended up is that when I finished that degree, I went and pursued what I probably always wanted to do, and that was a degree in education. And when I was articulating that when I was at school, I was hearing from my peers about, oh, you don't want to be a teacher. Unfortunately, I was also hearing it from some of my teachers going, you don't want to be a teacher, so I just
not
went
a
and
whole
did
lot
that.
of positive reinforcement.
Yeah, it was awesome. But, once I got into that degree, I knew that I'd found something that I really wanted to, I was happy in. And that's where I was first exposed to career counselling. So I undertook some elective units in career counselling because I sort of thought, I don't really know what this is, but it sort of sounds like it's a bit of fun. And it was also, the units were condensed over sort of 4 days. So I thought, well, that's a great way to get an elective done, over 4 days rather than a whole semester. And I loved it. I just thought it was I just thought it was really good. And I think if I reflect upon it today, if I reflect back on my career journey, I think that, I've always had those social service interests, wanting to be able to help others. And I think I was never going to get that out of commerce, but clearly I was getting it out of education through, I was a teacher for 20 years. And then through that process, obviously, this whole notion of careers and career development is just like at the center of that. So, in my role in education, I was a career practitioner in a school. And so that instantaneous feedback you can get when working with a student or, or a student's parent or whatever, about being able to assist them and help them through their career journey, that sort of positive feedback that you get, or that sense of achievement that you get, was satisfying, that you're actually able to help an individual.
Yeah, I can certainly relate to that. I mean, I've worked always in IT, but prior to working at the Australian Centre for Career Education, which is a non-profit, I'd never even considered working for a non-profit. And, I mean, to be honest, I was always just thinking about, well, how much money can I make? And, can I do something that's exciting? And, I came here and it just completely opened my mind up to the,
Definitely.
the actually having some impact, and it just feels good when you do, some work you do actually leads to helping someone.
So you can, in careers education, you can really see the impact you can have on people's lives. Sort of really quickly, you're having these really important discussions with people about their future and helping them see that, they can do something with the skill set that they've got. So it's always a really nice feeling when you can have a chat with someone and, see them excited about what's ahead for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, where I've transitioned to now as being the Executive Director of the Career Industry Council, is now I'm out there advocating at a much more targeted level, with governments and other stakeholders about, these people called career practitioners actually add enormous value to, whether it's in a school or whether it's in a TAFE or a university or private practice or, through government programs. Whilst I miss sort of the one-on-one sort of work with, with an individual, I feel now in this role that, Seeker plays such an important role about highlighting the value of career development and career development practitioners. And I think we've seen probably over the last, 3 to 5 years, is that there's been a real massive awakening. And you can see that through everything that's being run through National Careers Week this year, is that you've got organisations that are involved in National Careers Week that would never have done anything to do with career development in the past. Big Australian companies running stuff for their workers about, careers, and so I think the ability to be able to continue that work at a sort of a more strategic level in this role is also fairly, reaffirming for me as well.
I want to jump in just because I'm thinking of the young people that are listening to you. And one of the key things is that you started your journey and changed your mind halfway through. So for those young people that may be listening at school, don't worry if you end up having to change your mind. David's proof that you can still succeed and get into what you really want to do. Sometimes it's trialing something. So I think that message at the beginning, what you were saying, David, is so important to young people that are listening in university and
just anyone, really.
Anyone,
I mean, you never know what part of your life you want to make a change, or you have a realization that what you're doing may not be what you actually want to do.
Yeah, and it's okay.
And that there are pathways. There was certainly a point where I felt a bit stuck in my own career. I was self-employed, and I just felt like I wouldn't be able to make the jump into working for someone else. I just, I felt like there was so many different things I had to do, and, it was just a matter of breaking it down and going back and doing a little bit of study, doing a couple other things, networking, and, and then it kind of all came together. And so I think anyone can do it.
Definitely.
It is. Look,
David?
It's really, really important, because I think, society tells us that it's not the right thing to change, right? So you're seen as a failure if you've made the wrong decision or got down the wrong path or decided to go to university and realised it wasn't for you. You really wanted to undertake a vocational education training pathway. Society tells us that's wrong, whereas it's not wrong, and I think, I guess, I'm proof of that. But, we've also got to get that message through to young people as well, is that, it's actually okay to fail as well. So if the first step is not the right step, there's actually nothing wrong with that. You're not a failure. You need to learn from your experiences and then build on them. So,
I wouldn't say it's a failure. I'd say it's just a step that wasn't quite right, and just move on.
Very zen of you, Judith.
Very zen, isn't it? In a different direction. Do you know? I was listening to, I forget his name now, but it's going to kill me. I went to his winter, and you know who he is, David. He was Hope Counselling, from Canada.
Gray Purnell.
And Gray Parnell. Darnell?
Oh, Gray. Okay.
Purnell.
Yeah, Purnell.
Gray Purnell.
He actually gave a description, and I knew I should have brought my book in here, about what the actual word career actually means, and it's journey. So it's not about a job or anything; it's about that journey. And so if you take and think about this whole thing, even at school, was a journey towards all sorts of things in life. It's I think it takes pressure off that you're thinking, I'm going into a certain
the
type
word
of
career. Well, it's like the etymology of it.
journey.
It's connected with carrier and movement and journeys.
Yeah, so you're on a journey throughout your life and lots of different experiences. Yeah, fun.
Yeah. David, before we let you go, what is one piece of advice that you can give to our viewers about their career journey?
I think we've probably just spoken about it. I think you just got to take the pressure off. Like, it's not to say that you just need to cruise through life, but I think you need to understand that you need to build your skills. So when you're at school, you need to take those opportunities to build skills while you're at school. And, if you are looking to pursue, a higher education pathway, that doesn't mean that you can't undertake some sort of vet training while you're still at school as well. So you've got a bit of that with you. And that I just don't think, I think you need to realise that, if you happen to fall into the right step once you leave school, that you're lucky, but you're not. That's actually not the norm. The norm is that most people don't actually. That first step out is not always the most successful. And I think, we don't always hear about the statistics and the stories about those people that go to university that drop out. They're never reported. And there's a lot of them, right? So, and I think, that becomes just so important. It's just, you need to take the pressure off. It's not all about the ATAR. There's more to life than the ATAR.
Yep.
And if you've got an understanding of where you're looking to head, that's the key, is that when you're at school, do as much as you can possibly do so that you're aware of what options are available when you leave school. And you need to listen to what your gut's telling you. If it says, you know what, I really want to undertake an apprenticeship because that's my passion, then you shouldn't let anyone get in the way of that. That you should follow your passion.
Amazing.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for your time, David. We've loved having you as our first interviewee for our show. We're looking forward to.
There's no trophy for it, but
no trophy required.
No. Thanks so much, David.
Thank you, David.
No worries. Good luck with it. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
See ya.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Did you hear a siren?
What was that siren?
I thought sirens that evacuated the building
They
there.
have a fire siren test happening in the tech school.
I was going to say, if we
Oh
get,
my
Safety
goodness.
first, people.
if we get booted out like mid-show, that would just be
What are the
gods.
chances,
What are the chances?
that they'd have a drill during our first live show?
100%.
So we just keep going. Well, I'm going to keep
That's the
going.
siren.
I'm not evacuating until they drag me out. It's just let's have the fireys in here. That would be so darn cool.
Yeah.
First, we have action, like
There's not a whole
joking
lot of room in
Judith
here.
out.
No.
They could pick me up over their shoulder.
Yeah.
You'd love that, Daniel.
I mean, look, that sounds entertaining.
Unfortunately, just a siren test. No drill today, Judith.
Okay.
Bugger. How can I say that live?
Absolutely.
I was getting
Not only
carried away there,
live,
sorry.
but on demand later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For those that couldn't make it
Yes.
right now.
One thing that David was talking about was about how we have different jobs now. And I think it'd be really cool for us to just chat about the different careers we've had, the three of us, leading up to where we are today. So, Judith, if you want to start and give us a little bit of a timeline of all the jobs you've had.
Start with the best.
The best.
I feel like
actually-
the most interesting story.
Oh gosh,
The story of Judith Wood.
I don't know. There's so many. I grew up in Africa.
Yeah.
And So what did I do? I'm trying to think now. So many jobs. If you ask me my favourite job one of my most favourite jobs of all time, I always think of Avis Rent-A-Car. There's a plug for Avis. They can maybe sponsor us. I don't know, Avis Rent-A-Car, but this was at Harare Airport. I just loved that job. It was pretty darn cool. Working on your own, it's so much going on in international airport.
You'd get to meet lots of people, I'm sure.
Fabulous,
too.
yeah. And
You weren't flying the plane, so.
Do you know what happened though?
No.
Talking about flying planes,
Yeah.
I had the most awesome experience because it was Harare Airport, but it was a downtime. There was no customers coming because it wasn't like Heathrow or anything,
Right.
and or Melbourne, and I got to go up into the air traffic control.
Really?
That is so cool.
It was actually pretty darn awesome because you could hear all the pilots talking. You can't see any airplanes, and they were flying from all over the world. I'm thinking in little old African Zimbabwean airspace, crossing over. So that was amazing experience actually.
Did they have to hold you back from getting on the mic? The air traffic control.
This is Judith calling flight.
Oh, my name was very tempting.
This is Judith Wood. You're cleared for
I think
landing.
I may have actually asked, can I just say, and like, I don't know how they used to have those old CB radio
CB
thing.
radios, yeah.
Can I just do the CB radio call? And they go, no, Judith, you can't do that. You're not even supposed to be here. It's illegal.
Yeah, and you have like your little call sign, your identifier. You know that on CB radio, you could look. I've never did it, but I know
I
that
know.
you could ask someone, how many candles are you burning?
What does that
What?
mean?
What do you think that would mean?
I
How
dread
many
to think.
candles
Let's
are
go
you
around the
burning?
room, the confused room. J-Dog?
Is it like burning the midnight oil? That kind of
No.
Nothing like that. Okay,
No.
no.
How many candles are you burning?
It's how old are you?
Oh, that makes sense.
Now
Yeah.
I get that now.
How many candles? That makes
Yeah,
it's
how many
like
Yeah, that
candles you're
makes
burning.
us so old fashioned. How did you come up with that? You're so
I
young.
remember that from somewhere.
Gee whiz.
So
I'm impressed.
in my dusty library that I go to.
Every now and
Go
again.
pull a random book off the shelf. What useless fact can I read about today?
Yeah, fantastic.
And David also talked about transferable skills, which was a great little segue into our next guest. Our next guest is called Lorette. She's a highly experienced and talented trainer and assessor, having worked in careers and welfare coordination for the past 30 years. She's worked in the secondary and tertiary education sectors, offering empathy, support, and a belief that all students can succeed. She's held several senior management roles, leading teams in state and federal government, writing policy and research for sport, and providing ministerial advice. Lorette has been a lecturer and a researcher in the tertiary sector and has been a national high performance manager, guiding elite athletes, coaches, managers, and families to make effective career choices and decisions.
Sounds like an overachiever.
She does sound
She
like an
sounds like a genius,
overachiever.
not me. This
My intro
this
would
comes
not be that good.
in becomes a true
Let's
genius.
open that really noisy door and
Yep.
let the guest in.
Yeah,
Welcome, Lorette.
Welcome.
Yeah, come in.
Oh,
There's that door.
screeching.
Yeah.
Crash.
Yep.
Yep.
I got to
Pop
look
the
at that.
cans on, as we say in the biz.
It's a bit it's tangled
There you
there.
go. Thanks for tangling them up, for me, guys.
We wanted to give you a bit of a
Yeah,
challenge
so
as
they
you came in.
fold. They kind of fold. Hang on a
Down.
minute. They go.
I need a fashion accessory guy.
They fold.
Got it?
They fold, rotate,
You want to
spin.
hand? Here we go.
And,
That's now. Imagine me not being able to do it either. They go down. Hang on. So we've got a left. I want to make sure you got
Do
them.
they say left and right on them?
They do.
Yeah. Well, with most headphones, the cable always goes to the left.
Good thing I
That's
put
like
mine
the
on that way
standard.
then. That's a fluke.
Okay, now I look the part.
Yay.
Okay, get the mic in front of you.
Yep.
Welcome, Lorette.
It's
Thanks,
tangled.
guys.
Good to have you in the studio with us.
Yes.
Been going pretty good so far, the show, I think.
Yep.
There's a couple of early technical issues, but now I feel like we're a well-oiled
Yeah.
machine.
It's been fun.
Smooth.
Yeah,
Smooth. Have you
smooth.
been watching the show?
I have been watching right out there.
Look
Yeah.
at you go.
I try.
So, Lorette, tell us a little bit about why you chose to work in careers.
Interesting question. So I guess the theme throughout my career has been education/sport. So I've worked in schools, I've worked at lecturing at university, I've worked in sport high performance, and now I'm here with careers. So I did a lot. My last role was with disengaged, disadvantaged young people, so running a VCAL program. For a lot of those, they don't have an ATAR.
Yep.
So, but they want to do something in training or education. So looking for those alternative pathways was something that I just love doing. And now I'm here teaching people about careers.
Amazing. And are you enjoying it so far?
Loving it.
That's good to hear.
I've got some reasonable workmates.
Yeah, they're all right.
Definitely hear you around the office.
Yes.
I'm the very quiet one.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely
So you
quiet.
enjoy teaching people?
Yeah, I love it. So going from teaching young people to now teaching adults was a bit of a shift, but it's as rewarding because you still get those light bulb moments. So I've got quite different groups. So I've got a group from Sport Australia who are athlete wellbeing coordinators at state and national institutes of sport. I've got people from Mass National, and then I've got what we kind of call the general, which is from anywhere. So they could be teachers in mainstream, TAFE, tertiary, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Or people who want to change their careers and advise people how to get a career.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, I'll just get you to bring the microphone a little bit
Yeah.
closer to you. Yep.
Why?
Just like that.
So we can hear
so
you.
can hear you.
We can hear you through the mix.
I can hear me really well.
The audience needs to hear you.
I'm practicing being quiet.
That's a first
Yeah,
for
I know.
you.
I know.
It's
So
impressive.
What would you say the biggest difference is between teaching young people and teaching older people?
Well, adults learn by doing things,
Mhm.
whereas young people kind of stumble their way through it. And some are listeners, some are visuals, some are hands-on. We get the same with adults, but adults really want to know why they're doing what they're doing. So you have to contextualise it for whatever cohort that you have in that room or on Zoom at the moment, and make sure that it's relevant. Because if you provide case studies that are hands-on practical activities and it's got no relevance to where they stand or where they're working, then it's virtually a waste of time.
Yep.
So they want to know how they're going to be applying their
Yeah.
learning, essentially.
Yeah, so the way that we run our workshops now is that, well, we always have, but there's a real big emphasis on practical, hands-on. This is what I want you to do it in groups rather than me talking.
Yeah.
So
It's often a really good way to learn off,
Yeah.
bounce off your peers. You're talking about
Oh.
what you know.
peer
you're-
learning is awesome.
Yeah.
For adults especially, I think it's the best way for them to learn.
And so do you want to talk a little bit about the CEAV Institute where you actually working? Give a little plug for the institute that's part of
let me-
ACE, yeah?
Let me do that. So go to ceavinstitute.edu.au.
Yeah.
Got that right?
Yep.
So currently we're offering two qualifications and what we call a skill set. So a certificate for in career development and then the graduate certificate in career development practice. But we've also split up the Cert 4 into 3 distinct skill sets where we've grouped units. So if you want to come in and just do a little bit of it and then come back at another time and finish it off, we sort of set that up as well.
That's great for people who are already
Interesting.
in the workforce,
Yeah.
might not have time to
Do the whole
thing at once.
And the
Yeah.
skill set goes over 18 months, whereas the Cert 4 and the grad cert are a 12-month commitment.
Okay. Awesome. Talk to us a little bit about transferable skills. David mentioned it in his interview. And tell us maybe a bit more about them and why they're so important in the world of careers nowadays.
Transferable skills are great. You've all got them. Everyone in this room, everyone listening, everyone who's going to listen. So it doesn't matter what the job is, there's always going to be transferable skills. So that can be communication skills, it can be creative skills, it can be no matter what it is, you can transfer it. So especially for young people, don't think you're going to be trapped into I have to do this job and that's all I can do forever, because you can move your skills from job to job.
Yeah.
You can move and pivot from one career path and go, well, hang on, what's over there? That looks pretty cool.
Right.
And pivot across to that. And you just take your skill set with you and then you refine them by contextualising to whatever that role is.
So I guess the ideal thing would be if you're in a position and then you see something you do like, but you can kind of identify, a decent set of transferable skills so that you can make that transition.
Yep.
As opposed to something where you're completely, not transferable skill. That's really bad sentence structure. But, there are some things that it's kind of like, I think of it like narrative career linking where you
Yeah.
you go from one thing to another and it kind of tells a story as you progress through your career journey.
I guess you could look at it like Lego blocks that
Yeah.
you keep adding to that skill set as
Yeah.
you move from job to job.
Which is a lot better than Jenga. 'Cause that's the end of the career, which, you never know, could happen.
Fell
Could happen.
down.
Let's hope we don't have any Jenga block
Yeah,
career journeys.
Correct.
Yeah. But stepping on Lego can hurt too.
Yeah,
So,
that's
I mean,
true.
there's
It does.
always, you got to always look out for this stuff.
It swings and roundabouts no matter which way you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you learn from them.
Absolutely.
So that's okay.
Don't leave the Lego out, Daniel.
Exactly.
Absolutely not. Put it in the Lego bin. But, or wear steel cap boots.
What are some of your transferable skills that you've brought across from your previous jobs? Maybe one of the first jobs you've had. Is there a skill you can identify from one of your first jobs, straight out of high school or straight out of
uni.
That you are using today that you've refined and are still using?
Probably communication. Just being able to develop rapport, develop trust, develop relationships with people I'm either teaching, working with, or that are stakeholders or their networks, whatever it might be. So being able to maintain those relationships and build upon them and take them with you as you go from role to role,
Right.
is really important, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Captivating hearts and minds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That'd be the transferable skill.
It's just because you're a pretty face.
Very pretty.
Very pretty.
Too pretty.
He's never going to forget that now.
I know.
He's going to record it and play it on
I know,
repeat.
I know.
Yeah, I want that on
Pretty.
my soundboard.
Daniel is so pretty.
I thought it would be a good opportunity while we've got you here to talk about some of the jobs and skills shortages that are out in the big wide world at the moment. We hear a lot about on the radio and on the news about how there are lots of people out of work at the moment because of COVID. Where are some of those shortages happening, and how can we find them?
Well, the best way to find them is to go to, and everyone have a pen and piece of paper or your keyboard ready. One of the coolest places to get data on what's happening in real time, especially here, is called the Labour Market Information Portal. And so it's lmip.gov.au.
We'll pop that up on our website as well.
Yeah. And in there, if you just go in there and have a play, you can actually drill down to your regional level and have a look at projected growth over the next 5 years. So which industries, there's I think 10 classifications of industries within the LMIP. So it has a look at where they're projecting growth. It has a look at what skills shortages there are, and you can drill it down to your state. You can drill it down to your region. So that's really, really handy if you're looking to work locally and you don't really want to travel. Sorry. I should have
I
looked
needed to get out of here.
Well, you have
Mute me.
you have just recovered from
COVID. No, I haven't got COVID.
you just recovered from laryngitis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Friday was not looking good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you sound crystal clear now.
Yeah.
You were sounding very raspy on the phone on Friday. We were
Yeah.
very worried.
Occasional blast of noise coming through.
Sorry,
but
I was trying to hold that coffee.
yeah. Not to mention that Raquel had a neck incident and the show almost didn't happen today.
Yeah, that was fun on Saturday.
You seem, you're
I'm
you're
okay
swiveling
now.
fine.
Yeah, I'm swiveling okay. I've been doing my let's see, that hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
I had muscle spasms on Saturday and I couldn't even, my neck was stuck this way. I couldn't walk because I would feel like I was going to pass out. And I messaged Daniel and I said, look, we might have to postpone the show. I don't know how, because, I can't really turn to talk to you or to talk to anyone.
Which is a shame if you can't see me while you're talking to me.
I know,
all
you're
is lost.
beautiful. I have to be able to look at that beautiful face, Daniel.
No. Pretty.
Yeah,
Pretty,
pretty.
sorry.
Very
Pretty
pretty.
face.
Yeah, not rugged or masculine, pretty.
No.
We'll settle with that.
No, rugged masculine.
Yeah.
Not J-Dog.
Thank you. I think it was actually in our rehearsal show that you were having a go at me for the way I was sitting and that my leg, and you said that I had to sit forward and then only turn my body to you,
or just slightly.
which is obviously your technique, which is why you did your neck in the.
Here we go.
It's the curse. The gooseneck.
The gooseneck. It's better now, though.
Anyway.
We've got some good movement going. Back to careers with you, Lorraine. So that website, that sounds really cool. I actually want to jump on there after this and have a look for myself.
It is.
Is that a tool that you use with your students or with people that you're...
I use it. I use it with my students. One of my favourite saying is that Google is your best friend. Now the Labour Market Information Portal is your second best friend. And what's really cool about it now is that they're starting to input data from 2020, so we can actually see the effects of COVID on the labour market in Australia, in your state, in your region. So a lot of the skill shortages that we identified last year are now being government funded with free TAFE courses. So there's about 20 TAFE courses that are tuition free.
Wow.
They're not free because you still got to pay admin and materials and resources and whatnot. So it'll cost you $400 to $500. But the government's saying, we need more people involved in youth work. We need them more in community services. We need a lot of that face-to-face stuff that just disappeared during the pandemic.
Besides the two you just mentioned, are there any others that you can think of at the top of your head that
you'd
are...
ask me that.
Sorry.
Okay, from memory, building and construction I think's in there, some electrical's in there, a bit of nursing's in there. But if you just Google free TAFE, it'll pop up. And you can have a look at those.
We've had a comment from
Well,
someone.
we've had a few comments actually. We'll read out the comments.
Are they, hey, wait.
We've got a comment from what was the
So we've got one
from Dave? First of all, Dave thinks that we need a 7-second delay for Judith.
Thank you, Dave.
Emily wants a mug.
That's
You
just
know, look, maybe
how cool are our mugs,
cool.
guys?
maybe if we
I actually didn't get one.
yeah, look,
Oh, sorry, Laura.
you know, the budget here.
No.
So, you know, but certainly, you know, if the show continues on, maybe we'll have some merch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I reckon merchy.
Yeah, you can have that career show hat, Judith. I think that would look
I wanted the T-shirt.
dashing. A T-shirt?
Dashing. No, hat won't work. Could you imagine the hat on our yeah?
Yeah.
Too much.
And it's
You don't
too
wear
warm
hats?
in here for hats.
Yeah,
But a
true.
nice
No, but you can
T-shirt.
when you're out and about, you can, you know, represent the show.
That's what I want to do. I want to do what street chat. What am I doing?
a
Careers
vox-
chat.
Vox
Vox
pop
pops.
when you go
Vox pop,
outside.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
I think
watch
we'll
out
do
for
some of
me,
that.
folks. I'm
What about
coming to hit you soon.
what about
Sam Newman, move over. Just coming downtown.
I was just
Yeah.
thinking about the footy show.
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
Oh, it's a bit in your face.
you know, we could have that career show trench coat for you. Was that
I'd
something you'd
love
like?
it. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could.
Can you
You'd
imagine?
you'd walk in full command when you came in wearing
I
that.
might even get a pipe. I don't smoke, but you know.
A pipe.
Yeah, I reckon.
What about is smoking a cigar a transferable skill?
I'm gonna
Anything's a transferable
Right.
skill.
Just depends. I mean, maybe if you worked in a
Depends
cigar
how you
shop.
wrap it up.
follow-up
Yeah, true.
question: how is smoking a pipe? How can that be a transferable skill, Lorette?
Well, you can transfer that skill to
to smoking something else.
smoking anything.
Actually, you could use that skill, glass blowing.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Guys,
I don't know much about glass blowing.
I only know about it because we saw when we went to, I think it's
Venice?
Murano, or Burano.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one is the one
Venice.
where they do the glass blowing. And we saw a little like workshop where
Yep.
they do it, and it's
kinda
amazing.
Cool. It's
yeah,
cool.
the way they can manipulate the glass
Hmm.
Mm.
and they melt it and pull it, and just it's incredible
Yep.
what they can create.
I can think of something. A
Can you?
chocolatier
Yeah.
could make a fake cigar,
Yeah.
and I can eat it.
So
it's a
chocolate
chocolatier.
cigar.
A chocolate cigar. So a chocolatier can make.
I feel like, you know, in today's day and age, you know, chocolate cigar probably wouldn't be the go.
Not PC.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Why?
I just think that's
It's chocolate.
yeah, I know.
Delicious.
Yeah. We actually have there was a normal comment. There was a proper comment on there. What was that one from Adrienne?
Adrienne said another job research tip is to do a location search in Seek and see what's available in your area. It's a
There you
very
go.
good tip.
And
Yeah.
the other one is
Thank
have a
you.
look at Job Outlook and
Job
Job
Outlook.
Search,
Okay,
which are two other sites.
we'll pop up all those links to
Yep.
those sites on the website and those tips. There's
Cool.
some amazing tips.
And we actually, and you know, we have our own internal channel of discussion here. We got a change subject alert from from the Martin sisters, the producer over there. Which subject was the one that was boring the audience?
The cigar.
Yeah, we're just smoking's not good for you.
Okay, well, yeah, look, I
Oh,
mean,
you know, that's why I
we-
went for chocolate.
we certainly we don't endorse smoking. It's very
No,
bad for you.
That's why I
obviously,
went chocolate.
Yeah, yeah,
Chocolate's good
exactly.
for you.
Lorette, before we let you go,
Yep.
I'm going to finish off with the same question I gave David. What is one piece of advice? What do you think is the most important piece of advice you could give to our listeners about their career journey?
Ooh, short-winded or long-winded?
Long-winded's
Long-winded.
fine.
Yeah. I think the most important advice doesn't matter where you are in your career journey. It doesn't matter where you are in the lifespan, if you like. You can achieve anything. Don't ever shut a door. Don't even slightly jar it shut. Just keep everything open. Believe in yourself. Follow your dreams. You'll get there. You'll get there.
I like that.
Beautiful. Poignant.
I love that.
Very poignant.
Yeah.
I don't know. These aren't labeled, but I feel like there'd be some nice music here somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it.
Wow.
What was that? Yeah, it's, beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Very
Kind of what we were
that was
going
very
for.
good.
There was
Yeah,
a-
we need
there's a
some
beautiful-
labels on this
Yeah,
thing.
no, there was a beautiful Tinkerbell one there.
Yeah.
No. That's not the one. The green's not
Hang on,
it.
let's just go through. No, that's
Oh, no, that's no good.
that's your
What was that?
music. Yeah, look.
No, there's definitely
yeah.
Tinkerbell. She's
Oh, yeah.
a happy
There was a
music.
nice spot up there.
That's the one.
Beautiful.
Bottom right, pink pad.
Pink
I won't
pad.
forget that now.
No
Pink
doubt.
pad and beautiful, a pretty face. That's
Cool.
the
Yeah,
two things I
P
remember.
for Prit. And right, yeah.
Yeah.
Go get it.
Yeah, we'll work it out. We'll get some labels.
Pink, pretty,
Yeah.
pink.
Thank you so much, Lorette.
You're welcome.
You're
Thanks for the
free to
time.
go.
Thanks, guys.
Your,
Thank
your,
you,
your,
Thank
your
you.
sentence is done.
Great
Thank you.
show. It's
You
going
did-
good.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Lorette.
much for
Really
coming
good
in.
grammar. Going good.
Play some music off. Yeah,
As she leaves the room,
there she goes.
See you later.
Lorette.
opens the dungeon door.
Let's hear that door.
Let's hear that door.
Oh,
The door of
Burnout.
Crashing out, yeah.
That door is horrible.
So what do we have next?
We have a bit of a chat about the three of us. I thought it would be a good opportunity for our viewers to get to know us and our career journey. And we've got a few more minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got a few more minutes before we have to wrap things up for our first show. I can't believe it. I feel like it's gone well.
Yeah, it's gone well. I mean, the time's flown.
It has.
We
Yeah,
were 10 minutes late, so
Yeah,
you
we
know.
might have lost a few. But is anybody still watching?
yeah.
29
Bring up that thing. I want to see.
29
Are they
viewers. Let's
liking
have
it?
a
Can they
look.
give us a live thumbs up or something? Just
Sure,
say
yeah,
thumbs down.
We've got love reacts, we've got thumbs up, we've got
Mm.
plenty of comments, everyone loving how the studio looks.
Amazing.
Oh, good.
Thank you
Studio
all.
looks great, team. You've done
And
a
if,
good job.
if you
from
guys
the
have
Daniel
any
Tech School.
questions, just drop them in there below about anyone on the desk's career journey or about careers themselves. We'd love to answer them, so don't hesitate to drop a comment in there and let us know. Daniel, tell us a little bit about your career
Ooh.
journey.
Spotlight.
About
No, it's not on. Let's play some scary music. My career journey. So when I was in high school, I was, really into business. The idea of having my own business. I remember when I was probably 10 years old, I was walking down the street where I lived, and I just thought one day it'd be great to have my own brand of like Daniel Santo
Yep.
TVs or something. I was always a dreamer, and so. When I was 14 years old, I started a little web hosting business. It was called Bub Host.
Bub Host.
BUB Host.
Did that stand for something?
No, I
You
was
just
going
liked it?
through names and I just thought Bub,
Kind of
Bub
rolls
Host.
off the tongue
Bub
nicely.
Host.
Bub
Yeah.
Host.
And I actually had, quite a few clients there. They didn't, probably didn't realize I was 14 years old.
That sounds a bit of a worry.
Yeah, but then I guess school started to take a little bit more of my attention. What little I did try at school, and after that, I just had different little online websites and forums.
Yeah.
There was a game called Elastomania. That no one's heard of, I'm sure. And I had a discussion forum about that. It's all very exciting
You had
stuff.
a brief singing career on
I
MySpace.
did, and
Yeah,
we
you
actually
did.
forgot to get that clip on our
We'll have to
software
get
here.
them up for the
But,
next show.
It's a bit of a cliffhanger for the next show. You can see me make an absolute fool of myself back in
You had
2009.
some great hair, some really groovy
Moves.
sunglasses.
Very, yeah.
Was that the one on the cruise
even
ship?
more pretty.
Oh, the cruise ship one's
No,
really
no.
good
Ship's
too.
really good.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
was-
I don't know if we can play that because it's copyrighted music, but
Oh, is it? Okay.
it was me doing some karaoke, Elvis karaoke.
Yeah, Daniel does a great Elvis
impersonation.
Yeah.
Maybe you should get dressed up in Elvis next week. Maybe a
Yeah, we
Wednesday,
talked
or
about
maybe
that, but
Friday.
honestly, I don't want to walk around here with an Elvis costume on. I mean, it's already embarrassing.
People won't judge you.
Yeah.
We won't judge.
No.
It's a career.
Well, yeah.
Some people have that.
I
It's
went
a
and saw.
career.
I went and saw. I mean, if you like Elvis, I don't know if our demo likes Elvis, but if you do, there is an Elvis impersonator called Ben Portsmouth from the UK. So I don't know if he'll be coming over anytime soon, but he would have to be the best Elvis impersonator I've ever seen. What that has to do with my career, I don't know. But yeah, I went and saw him.
What was the entertaining side of you? Because you love to,
Well,
to sing as
when I-
Elvis, and you're very entertaining.
When
so
I was
it's-
little, I used to just play with like sound and like plugging speakers in and doing that sort of stuff. And then, I remember in primary school, I wanted to. I think the idea was have in my lounge room a Channel 31 show, a community TV show with my friends, and we would
That's
we'd
so
talk.
cool.
I mean, it didn't actually happen, but it was always an idea.
Yeah.
you know-
What did you want to be when you were in, like, let's say primary school age?
Mm.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I think apparently the very first thing I told people I wanted was to be an electrician,
Really?
a sparky, but yeah, it probably wouldn't have worked out. I mean, I wouldn't want to be, putting my hand down walls
I couldn't.
and
I could
pulling
not
cables
see you
through.
being a sparky.
It's a little too hands-on.
Too
I
pretty for
prefer
that.
being seated. But it's always to do with technology and, certainly as young as I can remember, I was into IT and I just wanted a computer really bad. And my parents said, well, we won't get you a computer yet. I think I was 4. And, but, and this is dating myself a little bit, but my mum's work, they'd changed from typewriters to to computers. So I think they managed to bring a typewriter home from mum's work, and I learned how to type on a typewriter. So yeah, that's a throwback,
Yeah.
going right all the way back. But in terms of yeah, it was pretty quick that I wanted to be a computer technician. I wasn't really sure what else to do, and then I had different businesses as I got older, and then one day I just realized I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to have my own business. I just want to go in and work for someone, learn from other people.
What were the biggest challenges you found having your own business?
Organisation. So certainly not my strong suit, being organised. And I was doing everything. I was doing bookkeeping, sales, answering emails, coming up with ideas, financial. I had an accountant, but still just keeping track of everything. And it just became sort of took over my life. And I felt like I felt a little stagnant. Like I wanted to join the regular workforce and just work on something new as part of a team. I was really craving the dynamic of a team. That was more so after I went and studied. I did a year of study just to get an actual qualification, but beyond my learned experiences. Yep. And then when I was there, and you have the camaraderie of the students you study with, and you work on projects. I thought, this is great. I don't want to go back into business. I want to go and work somewhere, and then maybe one day, the Daniel Santo Corporation will return, and I might do go back into the business. I do a little IT consulting on the side, but very, very minor.
How about you, Judith? What did you want to be when you grew up? When you were in primary school?
Chimney sweep.
Well, when I was little, I also lived in England, and I do remember going to a wedding.
Yeah.
It was in the winter, and the chimney sweep used to come round, and I think they used to kiss the bride or do something. It was a good luck thing. So she was covered in soot, and I'm thinking, what a terrible thing! What if they get black all over a white dress?
Yeah.
But it's a true story. No, not a chimney sweep.
That touching on that, a job that used to exist. We've got a segment coming up in our next show.
Yeah.
It's called in the Careers Dungeon with Judith.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
and we need some music for that. Got to work out the soundboard.
That could be. It could go that way.
It could go that way. But that segment's going to look at some old jobs that no longer exist. So that should be an interesting one to sort of see how some of those careers might have evolved to be something different today.
I feel like it's going to be a bit spooky. We might have a bit of reverb. Pop a little reverb. That's
the wrong one. There we go.
Yeah, we'll be down in the dungeon with Judith Wood, and we'll be talking about really old careers that no longer exist.
That sounds so exciting.
There's a few we've discussed already. We won't even go there. We'll
leave it for
the next show.
Wednesday show.
I think we'll come out of the dungeon now. We'll take the reverb off. Come back to reality.
So Judith,
what did I really want to do? I'll tell you what I really
wanted
to do.
So not a chimney sweep. You crossed that off.
I crossed it off pretty quick after this wedding I went to when I was about 5. No, I wanted to be a hairdresser, in actual fact. I still think about that and doing makeup, hairdressing and makeup beautician, but didn't happen because different reasons where we were growing up. So that was my dream, and I love Grease. The movie Grease.
Yes.
And what's that girl that was on there?
Have you seen that, Daniel?
I have seen Grease.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The amount of criticism I get for not watching enough TV shows and movies, and we were talking in the rehearsal show about We're the Millers. I've seen that movie.
You actually have seen that one.
I just couldn't.
Forgot.
It's a lot of it's high pressure here.
You're forgiven.
I couldn't remember the bit you were talking about.
I don't even know that. I've never heard of that.
Now you can go after Judith.
Yes, I've never heard of the Millers. Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, so that was my that's what I really wanted to do, but that never happened. Oh, but makeup did though. I ended up when I came here, one of my first jobs in Australia was a bridal and makeup artist.
Cool.
So I'd get to do that, and I did actually love doing that. That was really, really cool.
How long did you do that for?
A couple of years actually. I really enjoyed doing that.
Were you talkative when you were with the customers? I feel like there'd be a bit of banter going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, very talkative, very chatty.
Did you get any bridezillas?
No, they were all very well behaved. They were actually very sweet. I used to do a practice run beforehand for their hens night. And
who'd you practice on?
On
customers.
Them.
Oh, on the customers.
Yeah.
I thought maybe mannequin or something.
No, real human beings.
So they can see how the makeup looks on their face and their hair.
And some of the brides wanted it really dark. I thought they had this idea in their head that should go really dark.
Like tanned?
No, not tan, just heavy makeup. And
some
of them don't even wear makeup. I said, no. Your husband doesn't want you to see you looking like a freak coming down the aisle. Who's this girl? So I said, make her a bit softer. And so that's so I proved you didn't have to have heavy
Yeah.
crazy makeup for
Yeah.
your wedding photos. Yep. So I did end up
So
doing
you're a
something like that.
trailblazer with the what is it?
Well, it's
Sheer
all
or
changed now,
sheen?
though. It's all changed.
Natural look.
Yeah, I was. It's all changed now, I
Yeah.
think, very much.
Yeah.
Techniques have all changed.
Yeah, it's the Kardashian look,
Supposedly their look's the natural look.
contouring and all that.
Yeah.
Contouring.
I am pretty.
Went to
Contouring. Yeah, I never knew about contouring.
Yeah.
What other jobs have you had, Judith? Especially when you're in Africa. How old were you when you came here?
26.
So you would have had, I assume, a job or two maybe when you're
Yep,
in
I worked,
Africa?
and so typically, obviously, my generation, but went into teaching or banking or nursing. So
Mhm.
I ended up going into banking. I worked for one organisation, will remain nameless, banking. That I cried every day
Oh,
for 6 months.
For 6 months straight, that's
Six,
a lot
my
of
dad
tears.
said to me, "You have to stay at this job for 6 months. You'll thank me one day."
Yeah. And what did you do with the bank of tears?
Bank of tears. I saved them up, and I got myself a really good job. It set me up, which was for an African building. It was a bank as well. I can't think what it was called.
Bank of Africa.
Cabs. It was called Central African.
Cabs.
Central African Bank.
300 cabs.
Something or other. Cabs. Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't 1, 2, 3 cabs. It wasn't that. No. And that was cool. So I did all sorts of things. So I learnt, obviously, being a teller, but I learnt to do my secretarial skills came from that. And working with
Transferable
people,
skills up the
transferable.
wazoo.
It was all there. It was at payroll. I learnt to do payroll.
I'm assuming being a bank teller when you're in Africa would have been quite different to the typical bank teller role nowadays.
Completely different. It was all cash. It was all done by hand.
Cash, gotta love cash.
Gotta love cash. And it was all done by hand, and it was you had to pop balance
Yeah.
every day. Was
Is it pop or pot?
Pop? P-O-P. Don't ask
When
me.
you were talking about it the other day, I thought it was pot balance.
I think
No, pop. You know,
Pop.
I don't know.
So what does that mean? Why is it pop?
I don't know, but it just meant that your money in your account, your money in your drawer, you had a drawer
Mhm.
matched with what you the things, the stuff the stuff you'd written down on. Hopefully, or the accounting sheet, whatever you want to call it. I
Is
have
that
no
how you
idea.
write with a pen?
I did back in the day, not anymore, but
Yeah.
back in the day. So
Yeah.
but that was a really good because there's lots of transferable skills came from that. But as I say, my favourite job was working at Avis. But should I tell you something? Can I confess my sins on here?
Sure.
Am I allowed?
This is we might need reverb again for the church.
I did actually end up working.
Hold on a second. Reverb. Judith Wood, come in here.
Can I confess my sins?
You
I did
may.
something really bad
What
when
is
I was
it?
working for a computer company.
Yes.
I had a thing about buttons. Don't know if you know about me and my thing with touching buttons.
No, we don't.
I have a
I'm
thing.
just in a church here. I don't know you.
It was really, really bad. And there was this thing on the wall, and remember, this is a computer department. It's got all this computer technology.
What year was this?
19 something.
Well, I hope so. It's not the 1800s. It's not that old.
1902.
1902, back in the day when there was computers, but no one knew. Now it was
Were they the really big
It
computers?
was
or
the big computers,
the
right?
mainframe?
It was the mainframe.
Oh, mainframe.
I worked
It's
in
probably
I worked-
70s,
No, 80s.
80s. Okay.
And it was very cool, but working for this computer department,
Mm-hmm.
I actually taught myself how to load a computer Excel.
I thought you were going to say how to drive. You break and you're
Oh, that's
exaggerating.
another story
Yeah.
altogether. Anyway,
Let's stick with this one.
I don't know what I was
Judas.
talking to the guys in the because I like to talk.
I
And
know.
there was this box right on the wall, and
Yeah.
I was tapping, and in my head I was going, I wonder how hard you have to tap this for it to break, and it was the fire alarm. And I can just tell you, it doesn't take much.
So your confession is that you vandalised property.
Big time. When all the sirens went off, it was lucky the water didn't come down. Yeah, I was so lucky. I didn't get fired. Yeah, it was serious. It was actually serious.
Well, you are now relieved of this sin.
Sin, thank you. Publicly apologise.
You let it go up into the air and go.
Yeah.
Let me just say, this sin, go back from whence you came. Okay, may
Rest
now
in
leave
peace now.
church.
So that was one of the terrible things I did. Actually,
It's one of the terrible things. We'll leave it at one terrible thing.
Terrible thing for today.
For your own sake.
We've got some questions, some really
Yeah.
good questions.
It's
So
hard
the
to keep
first
track of
one
them.
is from Mallory. She said, "What advice can you give adults or people with learning disabilities when looking at jumping into a new career? It can be scary going into a new role and you're not sure if you should be open about it or keep it to yourself." I think this is going to be a really good topic for us to extend on a bit more, maybe on another show.
Mhm.
And we can get some
Absolutely.
experts in this area to come in and chat with us about it. So definitely, if you've got some questions, jump on our website and pop them into the chat box, into the form that we've got there, that we've got linked, and we'll collate all those questions and make a little show out of it, or make a segment out of it. That's a
I
really
think
good
the
one.
end, the
It's a
end
really
of that,
good question,
yeah, the end of
Mary.
that question, should you be open about it or keep it to yourself? I mean, look, it's very easy to say, well, you should be open about it. I think, I mean, the way I've approached my career is, building rapport with people, and then, finding people that you can trust in an organization, and then that you feel that you can be open with, whether it's the specific question or just any concerns you have, someone that you can talk through problems and issues with, and I'd say that's probably a pretty important thing. It's hard to bottle everything up and keep it
But
to yourself.
if applying for a new job, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you no, I probably would, unless it's going to impact some of your way of doing the job.
Yeah,
or
there's
something
no
like that.
there's no requirement
But
to
there's no
disclose.
requirement to disclose, so
Yeah.
I would probably keep it to
Yeah.
myself. If you think
Yeah.
you can go after the job that's
Yeah,
been
if
advertised,
you-
you've got the skill set,
Mhm.
just go.
It doesn't
for
make any difference. Yeah, exactly.
And another one from Nick. Do you have any advice for someone who doesn't learn well in a classroom? How can you improve your learning in a classroom environment?
Well, I didn't learn well in a classroom. I
Surprise.
I was full ADHD, but not diagnosed. And I think at that point in time, it just wasn't, the awareness wasn't there as much. So I was always the kid that was in the naughty corner, facing the other way. I was never facing the board. So when you're struggling to learn facing the whiteboard, and then you suddenly you're not even facing it, it just gets worse and worse.
That's something that's
I mean-
always been, I've found really interesting, the way that I think now it's getting a lot better, but in the past, the way that students were disciplined when they weren't paying attention, often it was because they had these
Yeah.
learning difficulties, or they were just, super clever students who were bored by the content in class.
That's it.
And so they'd cause issues. And instead of teachers trying to involve them in a different way, they would, sit and look at the wall.
And I think by the time it got to a point where I was really struggling at schools, maybe, I don't want to say too late. Like, I think now that it'd be different, but, I think there has to be early intervention, picking up on these things in primary school. I think it's grade 6 is where it kind of, in grade 6, we were given a school diary that we had to write homework in and all that kind of thing. And not only did I not write my homework in there, I didn't even know where my diary was. I kept on losing it, which is probably...
You did mention that
Yeah.
that was a sign.
Mhm.
You openly said I was highly disorganised. That
Yeah.
just,
I still,
organised or disorganised. That was
certainly
a trait.
it's still
character
something,
trait.
something
Yeah.
I have to really try hard at. It's not something that comes naturally.
And that's a skill that you either have or you haven't. So
Yeah.
it's not something that you have to beat yourself up, but because
But you can certainly put in place strategies to, if you struggle with being organised, you might just have a rule. Well, let's just say you've got a whole bunch of papers on your desk, and the pile of papers just keeps getting higher and higher. You might just have a rule here. Well, at 4 o'clock every day, I'm going to go through those papers. It's just something I have to do, even if it's just for 5 minutes. And then, by the end of the 5 minutes, you've probably sorted it, or you once you're doing it, you're going, So it's just kind of like that's the sort of thing I do.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Give yourself a time. Don't just say I'm going to do it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Say no, only 5 minutes. That could be the tip for
Yeah.
today.
I mean, in my calendar, I've got eat a piece of fruit at 3 p.m. I mean, I haven't been doing it much lately, but it's there because there's a lack of fruit going on in the diet.
But what would you say to a mature age person, perhaps? Well, not mature age, anyone that's left school,
Struggles in a
struggles,
classroom
and
environment.
had struggled. So now you're perhaps suggesting that they go on to TAFE
Well,
for some learning.
I mean, look, for me,
Maybe
yeah.
maybe to do some more hands-on learning. That could be a good way to, learn without having someone talking to you, because that's obviously not working.
yeah.
Doing stuff that's, like Lorette was saying, learning off your peers, going out into the work environment, doing work experience or volunteering.
Volunteering is a big one.
They can be really good ways to
I mean,
learn.
what I found was when I decided I wanted to go and study, I was looking at university and I just thought it's just not, I don't think it's something I want to do, and then I looked at an advanced diploma, and I essentially would just go into my class. I would listen to the teacher. We would do a lot of hands-on stuff in the classroom, and then once I left, I was done. And I mean, and that worked for me. That worked really well. I didn't have to keep track of a whole bunch of stuff. outside of, I could just get in there. And it was kind of like going to work almost. That
Yeah.
was my job, going in there. And that's what so I would say for certain people that probably TAFE is going to be the go-to rather than the sort of the theoretical. I mean, there's a time and place for that as well. But that's probably what I would say.
Yeah, definitely don't have to go to university. There's so many other pathways and avenues nowadays that you can take. And I think it's really good to see that university is not being sort of the hero pathway anymore. People are starting to realize that TAFE is just as important and can give you just as, great skills to get into the workforce. And for a lot of people, that hands-on learning that you get at TAFE is way better than what they're going to get out of, learning the same
it gets
information
you,
in the classroom.
Different tools, I guess. Like that's, more getting you going, in a very technical sense for working. And then, if you want to be, I don't know, a computer programmer, you might want to go to university to learn the theoretical underpinnings of software development and all that. They're just all these different options.
We've got a segment tomorrow with Barry Darnell, who is
Bazza.
the Australian rep for
I just call him B.
Moresby. And he'll be able to touch a bit more on learning styles. So definitely tune into the Wednesday episode with Barry, and we can flag that topic with him and talk to him about learning styles and get into
Wednesday 1 p.m. and we'll try and actually start at 1 p.m.
Hopefully no tech issues on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We haven't asked you anything about your career journey. Hang on a second. Before we go,
I'm asking all of you.
Some other questions. Come on, Daniel.
So,
my career journey.
What was your favourite career? Tell us your favourite.
When little Raquel, what did little Raquel want to do?
A few different things. So I love the performing arts. So I thought about maybe being a singer, being on stage.
La, 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 la.
I did a bit of musical performance stuff at school, did singing lessons, absolutely loved all of that. Missing every time I see someone on stage, I'm like, oh, I need to get back on the stage.
You want to get back up on that stage?
Yeah, I miss it a lot. So I always thought maybe I'll get into that. And then I think it was the London Olympics when I was sitting there watching the opening ceremony. I thought to myself,
2012?
I think so.
Yeah.
Was it 2012? Anyway, the last London Olympics. And I was watching the opening ceremony and I thought, oh, I wonder who organised all of this. And I was just kind of, while I was watching it, looking at all the little details and how, intricate all of that organisation would have been. And I was like, events is what I want to do and where I want to be. So I started looking into it a bit more and kind of fell in love with the crazy world of event management and event planning. That's where I am now. I did a bit of waitressing as well. That was my first job. Got my first job in January of year 12. So probably the craziest time to get a first job.
Was it? So it was obviously part-time job.
Part-time job.
Yeah.
Did you have any incidents whilst you were waitressing?
I love the story.
No, I think one thing that I learnt from my waitressing job, and I just picked up another waitressing gig during COVID, which I'm absolutely loving. I love that interaction with people. And one thing I learnt, especially from my first time being a waitress, was just how to, the customer's always right, but within reason, and how to really approach difficult situations between customers when they're coming to you with an issue, and how to dilute the situation.
I was going to say one thing. That saying, the customer is always right.
It's a horrible saying.
Well,
actually, you explained it to me.
I explained it to you. So that saying, the customer is always right, is about supply and demand, not customer service. So what that means is, let's just say you're manufacturing cars and your customers want to buy blue cars. You make blue cars. It means that you create what your customer wants.
That's how the customer's always right.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that if your customer comes into a restaurant and they demand free food, that you have to go, well, you're right. Here you go. We'll comp you. So yeah.
There you go. Clarification.
Pet peeve of mine, that saying.
It is definitely.
Beautiful.
It's been lost in translation. I think that because people come in and we would get customers kind of, if they were particularly spicy people, they'd throw that line in your face.
Spicy people.
Food.
Did you find that spicy people would actually order spicy food? Like
Is
a
there a
bigger
correlation there?
yeah, like
I don't know. I
correlation,
never really
correlation or
thought about it.
causation. Big personalities, would they order differently? Could you kind of tell what it's a lot of questions. Could you tell what someone would want when they would come in? Like, just by the look of them? I don't know, iron them off.
Kinda. Like sometimes you could pick yes and you asked me like 6 questions at the same time, Daniel.
Yeah.
So
Hey, in the rehearsal show, you asked about 10 and we went 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Clearly not for me.
Payback. No, you can't really tell. I mean, unless they're a regular customer and they get the same sorts of things all the time, then you can't really pick. Like we get now at the restaurant that I'm at, we get people that come in and we've got regulars that are trying everything on the menu. We've only been open a few months. But those people come in and we've tried this one. What's been the most popular one this week? We'll try that. So yeah, you can't really tell. Spicy personalities don't necessarily order spicy
Actually,
food.
just where you were actually offer spicy food. I mean, we haven't even thought of that.
What, does she offer spicy
Yeah, they
food?
do. They do.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
both did offer spicy
Chili
food.
flakes on pizza and stuff?
Chili flakes, chili oil.
Have you ever dropped anything on anyone?
Oh, can you please tell that story?
Alright, so when I started at the first restaurant, my boss told me a story about one of the girls that worked there before me. She no longer worked there. And she was carrying, so it was a pizza restaurant, and she was carrying her pizza on the plate like this. She had 2 pizzas. And she went over and she put the pizza down for one person, and the other pizza tipped and landed in the lap of the person sitting on the other side of the table.
No.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I feel so much
That's a
better
That
now.
cheesy
is,
mess.
yeah.
I actually did silver service when I was in England.
Silver service?
Silver service.
Is that like white glove service?
It was.
Beautiful.
And-
I've had some of that.
And
Lovely.
I actually dropped a potato. And a
Just
girl's
one
lap.
potato.
That's more like,
Potato. It flung out of the thing. And I'm looking, I think, how am I going to delicately pick this out of her lap? Do I grab it with my hand? Do I use the tongs? Well, she wasn't even tongs. It was a
problem
spoon.
solving, that's transferable
It
skill.
was, I was thinking, and whilst I was thinking, what's the most... The mum and dad started laughing, and apparently she had tipped a gravy bowl into someone's lap. So I just think, okay, fine. And I grabbed it with my hand.
Spilled gravy's not
my-
really a
my
concern.
biggest fear
Gravy's
is
overrated.
Pizza in
dropping
someone's lap. That
pizza
is
on someone.
perfect.
Just terrifying.
So how did you, moving on from that, how did you find yourself at the Australian Centre for Career Education?
When I started uni, I got a gig as a student ambassador. So I came through a program. I went to La Trobe, and I came through a program at La Trobe called the Aspire program. And I got into that program through my volunteering that I did all through high school. And yeah, so became a student ambassador and was doing a tour for, we had a careers day for some of the Geelong careers practitioners. And I was just chatting with some of them about, what I want to do, what I'm studying, and mentioned that in my degree there is an internship as part of the degree. So one of the career pracs that was there actually contacted, he was, I believe he was on the committee of management at the CEAV at the time. And he contacted my bosses and said, we spoke to Raquel and we'd love to offer her an internship doing the event management for our conference this year. So I came on board, I think it was in the April of that year, did my internship with CAV, loved it. That was such an incredible learning experience for me.
Just for people that might be wondering, the CEAV and the Australian Centre for Career Education are the same thing.
Yes. So that was... talking before about learning on the job and just throwing yourself in there, it was quite literally, I'd never done not really any events management stuff like I did at ACE when I came here. So it was an incredible experience learning from a whole heap of different people, being further immersed in the careers sector, because I was doing a bit of that careers stuff and careers talk through my student ambassador position. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. And then went back to uni, finished off uni in 2019, did a study tour in 2018. I'd highly recommend, if you get the chance to do a study tour as part of your degree at uni, or a chance to travel and study.
So where did your study tour go?
Sicily.
Yeah.
So we went to a little island just off sort of mainland Sicily called Ortigia, the most beautiful place ever. And that was in winter. So I'd never been to Europe in winter, so it was really exciting to have something a bit different.
Yeah.
But that in itself was an incredible experience, learning overseas, having to, talk to people in another language because I knew a bit of Italian. So I was trying to sort of remember everything I'd learnt when I was at high school and learning about the history and the culture and Italy from the perspective of someone who's actually living there when you're actually living in that place. And we were going out and seeing all these historical sites as well.
A little envious. My study tour was to China. I think Italy would suit me a bit better.
Look, the food was incredible.
Yeah, I ate a pig ear in China. So, I mean,
Ugh.
you know, I was pretty much just trying to find Western food. But I
And
thought,
so you thought pig
Pig
ear
ear.
was
No,
close
no,
to
no, no,
Western
no.
food.
I go from one extreme to the other. I was either eating Chinese KFC, it's actually pretty good, or I was eating a pig ear out of a sloppy bowl.
Ugh.
I
It
can't
was
think of
squishy.
anything worse. Oh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, but you know,
It's supposed to be an entertaining nice show.
When in Rome.
I bet you
Or
won't turn
not,
up
when
there
when
again.
not in Rome.
when
Yeah.
not in Rome.
Eat
That
pig's
was
ears.
certainly, yeah. I mean, I would definitely recommend. That was a
Yeah.
Chinese study tour when I was at Melbourne Polytechnic. It's only I only had to pay $500, and the rest was
Wow.
subsidised because we were ambassadors of Melbourne Polytechnic, and we went over to China. Very interesting experience.
I think you'll find too. Unis often have. I'm pretty sure mine went onto my HEX, so I'm paying it off, but you don't. There's no immediate effect
Mm.
on the cost wise because you can sometimes put it on your HEX
Yeah.
if you're eligible for that. But yeah, definitely if you can study overseas even for a semester, that was for just one subject. It's incredible. And then
Yeah.
came in beginning of 2019, came and started working here again.
Perfect. And we then happy to have you.
Yeah.
What about J-Dog? A little,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like I see J-Dog over there and I
Hey.
want to involve J-Dog.
How's it going?
We
You've
have,
been working
we
so
have,
hard.
we have a full interview with Sabrina, who's sitting on the right, which I think we will package up and just pop
Yeah.
on our
Website.
Facebook.
The highlights reel.
I really like that one.
Yeah.
But so let's get a little bit of J-Dog, the history of J-Dog.
The history of J-Dog. My career?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Okay, well, like you, I did study. I studied at Melbourne Polytechnic. I actually started when it was NMIT. Did some graphic design work there. Then I kind of transitioned from that through working as a screen printer for 5 years.
Ooh.
That was a fun career. It was hard work.
Bit of design flavour.
Yeah, so it's using that design again, transferring kind of some of my design skills across, so the design eye, if you will. Then going from there, I realized, okay, this is so much hard work. It's going to destroy my body if I keep this up. So I transitioned away from that and thought, okay, right, well, I love computers, IT, similar story to you, Daniel, and I decided, right, well, I think I like web development, but I want to try multiple options. So I went into a diploma of IT. Great experience. Studying at TAFE for me was perfect. I'm not a studious book person personally. So yeah, I love that, and it really reinforced for me that web development is where I excelled and what I wanted to do. So that experience fantastic. I made the most of my contacts through Melbourne Polytechnic. I offered to do being a ambassador for our course, and got a hoodie, and
Free
really,
hoodies are the best.
oh, for sure, yeah, they're more comfortable than regular hoodies.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically making the most of my time there, making contacts. I met some fantastic people, and yeah, it basically transitioned into an opportunity at ACE. So the day I finished, the next day I started at ACE.
Well, good on you.
It's amazing.
But that's almost exactly the same as me. On the day my course finished, I came for an interview here and was driving home, had a missed call, got home, laid down on my bed. I was a little bit tired from the interview stress, and yeah, had a phone call that was offering me the job. But one thing you mentioned, Jaden, that I think is really important, and certainly when I was studying, I mean, going and doing a course is one thing, but in the job market, you're competing with people that have, bachelor degrees, masters. Everyone's got something. I would say the most important thing was I did two things. I networked all the time. I got to know the
Definitely.
program leaders
Yep.
there, had chats with them. We shared our passions of technology and all that kind of thing, and I was interested in what was happening. And I pretty much had a say yes policy, as in if they need a volunteer, I'm there. If
Definitely.
if you want to volunteer for this project, I'd go in on my lunchtime
100%.
and I would go to every single thing. And so what that meant was, when the job opportunities would come in, they would pick their top students, and it doesn't take a lot to stand out. You've got, honestly, most of the classroom, they're just there, they clock in and they do their work and they leave. And if you can just stand out a little bit more than that, that's all you need. That's
definitely.
certainly a significant thing.
Yeah.
And it's called initiative.
Yeah.
And if you ever in an interview,
people see it. They can just see the spark of being self-motivated. It's such an important skill.
So it can go on your skill set as having initiative and giving an example.
Yeah.
You'd have multiple examples for an employer, and the employers love it.
Yeah. That's what you want to hear when you're interviewing someone. That the initiative, that's always what I'm looking for. What are they doing?
Yeah, that's what basically I did when I was in that transition process from studying to work. I said yes to as many things. Like I was working multiple jobs at that point. I think I had 3 jobs. So I also worked here at the tech school as a mentor. So saying yes to all the opportunities that came up, making myself known to them, but also to taking the initiative, not just to apply for that job opportunity, but I actually called up and offered. I said, look, I'd love to come in and just chat to you about what you do there. Yeah. And I didn't say anything about it being an interview. Didn't say anything about here's my resume. I said, can I just have a chat about what you do? I'm interested in what happens here. And that actually ended up being a conversation about the job, which ended up being an offer. And so,
I remember when you came to us at ACE.
Yeah, you had to leave the room.
What?
You made me leave the room. I actually remember.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you did. You said, Judith, you need to leave.
Why?
So I've got
I kind of remember
J-Dog coming in. J-Dog's coming in.
You were J-Dog from the beginning.
You were J-Dog's coming in. I've got to have a chat with him, and you need to leave the room.
I had to feel him out and stuff. So I couldn't have you throwing me off with all your sass.
So I had to leave.
He needed the focus.
Yeah.
We're going to have, on our second and third show, we'll have the lovely Sierra Espinoza, who is an expert in resume writing and preparing for job interviews and how to best we'll get the most out of those opportunities.
Yep.
And we'd love for you to send in, if you've got a resume that you want us to have a look at, you want us to have Sierra to have a look at, we'd love for you to send them in. We'll block out all your personal details and then just go through the resume and give you some tips and tricks, and that'll be really helpful for everyone else as well to see, maybe you do something that's the same as
we might set up
the example
I'm not
resume.
sure if the form, if you can attach resumes to it, but I think what we'll do is set up TCS at CEAV. And it's not set up yet, but we'll set up an email address just for the show.
Jump onto the website and we'll upload that this afternoon, so you can send through your resumes, and we'll choose a few to have a look at on the show. So definitely tune in to our Wednesday and Friday shows we'll talk about resumes and applying for jobs and all that sort of thing on those 2 shows with Sierra.
She's a queen. She is the queen.
She's fantastic.
She's Queen Bee.
Queen Bee, I love her.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much time to wrap it up.
We've had an hour and a half, I think.
Hour and a half.
Pretty good show. Thank you. We can see all of you there watching our show. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you for hanging in there and watching us.
Yes, we hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you've gotten some really insightful information. We hope you're excited about your career journey, and we look forward to seeing you here on Wednesday.
And share with your friends if you think that would be
definitely.
For them to,
exactly.
Networking.
Like and share to your Facebook page.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, the typical YouTube thing. Yeah.
Don't forget to click that bell icon.
Yeah. Ring that bell. Smash that bell.
No, it'll be really good on Wednesday. We've got the gorgeous Barry.
Barry Darnell.
And the beautiful Sierra. And it's going to be full of some really
full of fun. And a couple of
meaty stuff.
Yeah.
We'll be just chatting today, but it's going to be all the raw meat stuff.
Yeah, we're going to get more into the meat. So certainly.
Or vegetables. If you like broccoli, for the vegetarians.
We've got all
Yep.
kinds of food
Friday we'll also have some potential
for you. I was
possible
going to say
Olympic.
potatoes.
No, Judith's got those falling on people
Yeah.
under the table.
Yeah, so unfortunate.
We'll have a someone from the AIS and also someone who's a potential Olympic athlete. She finds out next week if she's made
An
it
Olympic
onto the
hopeful.
team. An
Sounds
Olympic
a
hopeful.
little bit better than
Yeah.
potential Olympic athlete.
That was the word I was looking for. Daniel.
Nice.
So tune into that one as well, but we'll see you there.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
cool.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Let's throw back to that big logo. Catch you
Ooh,
later.
yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.